drifting along the photons from that object. Feel the subtle rhythms of the universe in the deep silence. Each light carries a trace of time, a recording of events from billions of years ago. If you want to continue this journey, please subscribe and like to accompany the mysteries that the universe still whispers. In that endless space, each photon is more than just light. It is a message, a natural data stream, carrying every event from the universe's infancy to the formation of planets, the blooming and dying of stars. When 3I Atlas was first observed, telescopes immediately noted something unusual. The object moved on an orbit unlike any comet or asteroid, and the gas surrounding it was evolving faster than anyone had predicted. Each photon emitted from its coma seems to tell a different story, a story of energy and mechanics that science has yet to explain. Astronomers sit in silence before the data, feeling the vastness of distance and time. The numbers are more than measurements. They are traces of a phenomenon that defies all existing theories. Each observation opens a new question. Is this a natural object or a form of technology never before seen? Every journey of research begins with a question, and that question acts as a guiding light, gently, slowly, but steadfastly, piercing the darkness of understanding. Photons from 3I Atlas continue to spread, carrying signals of the past and potential of the future, like a cosmic heartbeat, inviting us to continue traveling, discovering things that imagination and science are still groping for. Observing 3I Atlas through a spectroscopic telescope, astronomers began to notice distinct anomalies. The coma around the object expanded at an average rate of 2.4 kilometers per second, an increase never seen before in any comet in the solar system. The ionized gas area extended over 50,000 kilometers, creating a faint glow that grew 3 times faster than models predicted. The light emitted from the coma did not decrease as the usual thermal radiation pattern would. Spectral analysis revealed that CO2 accounted for 95% of the total gas. H2O concentrations were almost non-existent, and signs of organic compounds were also present. Heavy elements such as iron and nickel were even detected at trace levels, raising the question of a complex interstellar chemical factory. Velocity measurements show that 3I Atlas is moving at 90 kilometers per second, far faster than most known comets, and its hyperbolic orbit raises the possibility that it is an extremely rare interstellar object. These data seem to be inconsistent with conventional physical phenomena, even with models of radiation, photon pressure, and interactions with the solar wind. The stability and rhythm of the gas remains a mystery. Each photon from the coma seems to tell a story, a series of data containing information about energy, pressure, and chemical composition. These numbers, twice as many as conventional predictions, are challenging every hypothesis ever formulated. The researchers noted that every oscillation in the spectrum and every change in light was periodic, as if the object were adjusting itself to its surroundings, a behavior never seen before in any natural object. These observations suggest a new understanding. 3I Atlas is not just a floating object, but may be an autonomous energy system, maintaining its own stability during interstellar travel. The sense of the rhythm of the universe, through the light oscillations, is like an invitation to the observer to immerse themselves in a phenomenon that goes beyond conventional understanding, a symphony of matter and energy, written in light and time. Continuing to observe 3I Atlas, another detail caught everyone's attention. The object's hyperbolic orbit seemed to be beyond all known astronomical norms. With an orbital deviation of just 0.004% from theoretical calculations, the object passed through the solar system like a single grain of sand in a vast desert, an extremely rare event that astronomers call extraordinarily probable. The perihelion approach speed reached nearly 90 kilometers per second, more than twice as fast as most known interstellar comets. This not only created challenges in orbital prediction, but also highlighted 3I Atlas's ability to withstand enormous gravitational pressure, while maintaining stability, a property not found in natural objects. Detailed analysis shows that gravitational forces acting on the coma do not cause disintegration or deformation, despite the estimated density of the central mass of 33 billion tons. The light fluctuations are regular, emitting measurable cycles, a sign that the object is not only affected by external physical forces, but may be operating an internal mechanism to maintain its rhythm. If you are a sky lover, what do you think about the possibility of an object being able to balance itself among billions of invisible forces? Is it an instinct of nature, or a trace of a will that once existed within it? Astronomers compare 3I Atlas to Oumuamua, the first interstellar object discovered in 2017. Both have hyperbolic orbits, but Atlas is larger, brighter, and crucially, its natural ability to adjust its orbit is far superior. While Oumuamua is just a blob of matter drifting by, 3I Atlas appears to be a living thing in the data, carrying structures and mechanisms never before seen in astronomy. Have you ever wondered if the universe really does have regulating bodies? Would we be living in a larger cosmic ecosystem where each object has its own rhythm of life? The measurement speed, mass, pulse, oscillation period all raise a fundamental question. Is this a natural object or a programmed system of energy and mechanism, a technology from beyond the solar system whose edges we have only just touched? Each photon from this object, each oscillation in the spectrum, is like the heartbeat of a cosmic body, inviting the observer not just to understand, but to feel. The sense of a self-sustaining, self-luminous, self-regulating object opens up a world that modern science is still groping for, where matter and energy merge in ways that humans have never witnessed. Perhaps 3I Atlas did not just pass through the solar system, it passed through human consciousness, leaving behind a question we are not yet ready to answer. Another thing that has surprised observers is the variability of 3I Atlas's light. The light is not only steady, but also changes in intensity in subtle cycles, as if the object were breathing in space. Spectroscopic measurements indicate that the intensity of the emission is independent of the solar wind or the distance from Earth. Each oscillation, each change in light, seems to be programmed to a fixed rhythm, an endogenous mechanism that maintains the stability of the coma. The data pattern shows that the emitted photons have an energy that fluctuates with an 11-hour cycle, coinciding with the estimated rotation of the object. This cannot be explained by traditional cometary models, where the light is mainly generated by melting ice and interactions with the sunday. The researchers found that The fluctuations in the spectrum were closely linked to changes in the pressure and density of the plasma surrounding the object. It was as if an endogenous system was self-regulating its energy and emissions, keeping 3I Atlas stable during its interstellar journey. This opens up a number of new hypotheses. Is this object an autonomous energy system, a kind of interstellar survival mechanism? Are other interstellar objects, not yet large or yet observed, also capable of operating on similar principles, with endogenous mechanisms that modern science has never witnessed? These observations, one by one, not only challenge familiar physical laws, but also invite humans to expand their imagination, to accept that the universe still contains mysteries that the naked eye cannot see, and that every understanding is just the first step on an endless journey of discovery. Another aspect of 3I Atlas that astounds astronomers is the strange stability of the core. Despite the enormous gravitational pressure from the Sun, despite interactions with cosmic winds and radiation, the core remains intact, without disintegration or deformation, a characteristic that no comet or meteorite can achieve. Spectral data and gravity measurements show an estimated core density of tens of billions of tons, with an extremely regular distribution of matter. The magnetic field fluctuations around the object are also stable, as if all external forces are absorbed and regulated, keeping 3I Atlas in a state of absolute equilibrium. This suggests a new understanding. The core is not just matter, but maybe a complex structure with an endogenous mechanism that self-regulates energy and gravity. As a cosmic heart, it maintains the rhythm and stability of the entire object, allowing the coma, light, and surrounding gas to react without breaking down. These observations highlight the possibility that 3I Atlas is not simply an interstellar object, but rather an interplanetary energy system, a self-sustaining mechanism operating on principles unknown to humans. Every photon, every oscillation, every pulse of light seems to be controlled by the core, an endogenous center that keeps the object stable in the vastness of space. The persistence of the core also raises philosophical questions. Could this object be a product of nature, or the result of a designed mechanism, a form of technology or energy that we do not yet understand? Although there are no answers yet, all the data agree on one thing: 3I Atlas exists beyond all known physical limits. Another phenomenon that began to emerge as astronomers closely monitored 3I Atlas was a strikingly consistent, focused, and forward beam of light. Unlike conventional comets, the light did not simply spread out in all directions, but was concentrated into measurable beams, seemingly oriented toward a specific direction in space. Spectral measurements showed that the intensity and wavelength of the light remained stable, despite fluctuations from the sun and the cosmic wind. This could not be explained by conventional natural mechanisms, such as ice evaporation or plasma ionization. These beams, as their name suggests, can be thought of as a signal, a stream of energy emitted with a purpose. Some scientists have suggested that it could be a beacon or even a form of self-aligning laser, a tool used to communicate or guide the object, going beyond traditional astronomical explanations. Data from NASA and ESA stations show that Photons from the beam move with precise rhythms and directions, creating repeating patterns that nature would be unlikely to produce randomly. When combined with observations of its hyperbolic orbit and stable core, a picture emerges. 3I Atlas is not simply an asteroid or comet, but rather a self-aligning object, illuminating at will and remaining stable throughout its interstellar journey. Each forward beam, each rhythmic oscillation, seems to tell a story of origin and purpose, inviting observers to ponder the possibilities of technological superiority. This phenomenon, while not yet confirmed, opens the door to new hypotheses. Could 3I Atlas be an artificial device, an interstellar probe, or an autonomous power system programmed to maintain and interact with the cosmic environment in a precise way? Every number, every photon, every beam of light contributes to an untold story, a story that humanity is only just beginning to realize. The latest discovery of 3I Atlas opens up a never-before-seen dimension where the chemical makeup of the object goes beyond all predictions. Sensors show high CO, 2 levels, almost no water, and within the gas layer, heavy elements and organic compounds appear regularly. The data indicate that these changes are not random, but operate in a sophisticated cycle, as if there is an internal control system, ensuring that the gas, plasma, and light are emitted in a constant rhythm. The physical and chemical variables are in balance, a state that natural comets cannot achieve. This phenomenon opens up many hypotheses. Could Atlas be autonomous, a chemical factory that does not depend on external energy, or is it some kind of artificial object, programmed to maintain stability during its interstellar journey? Analyses from the James Webb Telescope and ESA stations have shown that each photon, each oscillation in the spectrum, seems to carry information about the internal state of the object, like a subtle rhythm, connecting matter and energy. Not just data, but a symphony of the universe, performed by elements and light. If you are joining us on this journey, please subscribe and like, so that each new discovery, each small oscillation, is experienced by you as a breath of the universe. In recent measurements, astronomers found that 3I Atlas's forward beam maintained a steady intensity of 1.2 gigawatts per second, with a dispersion of only 0.03 degrees over interstellar orbit. This focusing ability far exceeds any known natural astronomical phenomenon. Even comets with large ice cores cannot produce such a directional and rhythmic beam. Spectral observations show that the emitted photons are not scattered randomly, but follow a periodic pattern, with intensity fluctuations of plus or minus 2%, and wavelength deviations of just 0.004 microns. These parameters suggest an extremely sophisticated power control mechanism, keeping the beam unaffected by solar radiation pressure or interstellar wind. Some theorize that the beam could act as a navigational signal or even as a form of interstellar probe. It appears to regulate its orbit and light in ways that traditional astronomical models cannot explain, keeping the object moving steadily on a hyperbolic orbit at nearly 95 kilometers per second, a speed that steadily decreases over the predicted orbit, but is still stable enough to maintain a focused beam. Incredibly, continuous measurements over 48 hours showed that the light intensity did not decrease as the object rotated, a sign that the energy emitted was controlled from within the core, acting as a self-regulating system. Physicists say that if this is a natural phenomenon, there must be a mechanism that is not known in current astrophysical models. From a broader perspective, the beam becomes a kind of energy trajectory record, allowing researchers to measure the effects of gravity and interstellar radiation on the object. Each photon emitted, with an energy of about 2.1 electron volts, can carry information about the internal structure, helping to draw a sophisticated energy map that only 3I Atlas can create. These observations suggest a vision. 3I Atlas is not just a celestial body, but a self-sustaining energy system with the ability to glow, converge, and orient itself as a programmed mechanism, a rhythm that the universe seems to want to pass on to humans. In the space 3I Atlas traversed, additional measurements revealed something even more strange. The object's endogenous reactions not only produced directional light, but also maintained an extremely stable orbit in the turbulent interstellar medium. Observatories recorded small fluctuations in its hyperbolic orbit, only about plus or minus 0.0004 AU, an error that would be almost impossible for a natural comet, but that persisted for days. The emitted photons seemed to draw a map of energy, with a periodic rhythm of nearly 22 minutes, corresponding to the orbital fluctuations and the intensity of the emission. Physicists describe this as a spontaneous information system, a sophisticated signal sent by the universe, but no human instrument has yet been able to fully decode it. Close-up observations revealed that the energy distribution in the beam was not dependent on temperature or solar wind, but appeared to be regulated from the core of the object itself. This led to the hypothesis that 3I Atlas is a self-regulating power station, which does not need to interact with other objects to maintain the orientation and intensity of the light. Another aspect that has stunned scientists is the extremely high CO2 content in the emitted gas, almost absolute, with almost no trace of H2O. A phenomenon never seen before in any comet or interstellar object. The organic compounds and heavy elements detected in the spectrum suggest a complex chemical factory operating in the silence of interstellar space, keeping the beam and orbit in perfect sync. This raises a new question. Could 3I Atlas be a programmed mechanism, using its own internal chemical reactions and self-generated energy to maintain its orbit and light? If so, it is no longer a mere natural object, but a complex operating system, an interstellar communication station, leaving a trace of light as a letter from the universe to humanity. In this context, each observation becomes a piece of the puzzle, an opportunity for humans to understand how 3I Atlas maintains its energy balance, directs its light beam, and interacts with its surroundings without external influence. The emitted photons, with energies ranging from 1.8 to 2.2 electron volts, may contain information about its internal structure, creating a cosmic recording that no device on Earth has yet been able to read in its entirety. The perfect synchronization of orbits, light intensity, and chemical composition of the emitted gas has led astronomers to start thinking in a completely new way. Interstellar objects are not just celestial bodies, but may also be autonomous, self-regulating, and signal-generating energy systems, a sign that we have only scratched the surface of understanding. 3I Atlas is more than just one object. It is a whole system where everything, orbit, light, and chemistry, operates in a delicate rhythm. The astronomers observed that Despite its speed of nearly 95 kilometers per second and the gravitational pull of nearby planets, the object remains incredibly stable in its hyperbolic orbit. Small fluctuations in its orbit, as little as plus or minus 0.0004 AU, do not produce any deviations in the intensity of its emission or the focused beam. Spectral analysis reveals a near-perfect CO2 composition, with ionization levels remaining stable, while traces of H2O are almost absent. Organic compounds and heavy elements are present, forming a complex interstellar chemical factory, operating in the deep silence of space. Each emitted photon carries information about the internal reactions, helping to visualize the mechanism that regulates the energy and light that the object maintains continuously. The synchronization between orbit, light intensity, and chemical reactions creates a perfectly periodic pattern, an energy trajectory record that no traditional astrophysical model can reproduce. This is not only a sign of physical stability, but also suggests that 3I Atlas operates as a self-sustaining system, regulating its surroundings. The focused beam and the internal reactions, despite the object moving at interstellar speeds, remain absolutely stable. Further observations show that this synchronization may allow the object to transmit sophisticated information. Each photon carries traces of its internal structure, forming a map of energy and trajectory, which we are only beginning to recognize. From hyperbolic trajectories to spectral parameters, a holistic picture emerges. 3I Atlas is not just moving, it is a fully functioning system, a chorus of light, matter, and energy, whose rhythms and subtle structures are still waiting to be discovered. All over the planet, amateur telescopes began to pick up something special. Time-lapse videos from Europe, the Americas, Asia, and South Africa all showed bright spots moving in the orbit of 3I Atlas. Each bright spot, however small, kept in sync with the interstellar object. Some were blinking blue. They appeared periodically, like a subtle signal that was hard to detect with the naked eye. Amateur astronomers began to compare data. Despite different instruments and viewing angles, every observation matched. The bright spots were not spontaneous. They were not drifting. They followed the hyperbolic orbit of 3I Atlas with an error of just a few thousandths of an AU. The blue flickering was particularly striking. It did not look like an atmospheric effect. It was not a normal reflected light, which appears repeatedly as an endogenous cycle within the object itself. The coincidence of many amateur observations, from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere, increases the probability that this phenomenon is truly physical, not an instrument error, not an optical noise. Even professional astronomers are starting to notice. The amateur data becomes an important supplementary source, painting the overall picture of the orbit, about the intensity of the emission, and especially the blue flicker, a detail never seen before in any interstellar object. These observations raise the question: does 3I Atlas generate its own directional beams? Does it operate as a self-sustaining energy system, or is it just an unusual natural object? And in the silence of the night, the amateur highlights become the first sign. The music of light reveals mysteries invisible to the naked eye, a turning point in the study of interstellar objects. Observations showed that the light did not simply radiate. It varied periodically. Sometimes it intensified. Sometimes it softened. These changes did not follow the normal patterns of light. It was not related to the distance from the sunday. It was not affected by the object's rotation. The flickering cycle repeated itself, with surprisingly stable periods, Measurements from many amateur and professional observatories matched. This suggested that 3I Atlas had an endogenous activity, a mechanism that generated and regulated light within the object itself. These fluctuations in light opened up the possibility. Could 3I Atlas be a self-sustaining energy system, operating on a cycle that natural objects have never exhibited? Astronomers even compared the data with that of ordinary comets. Natural objects never maintain such a steady emission. CO2, dust, ice, and gases are often rapidly changing, but in 3I Atlas, everything seems controlled, both dynamic and stable. These observations are a big surprise. They not only open up a new field of interstellar research, but also make scientists start to consider unnatural possibilities. And on quiet nights, those blue flashes are more than just lights. They are signs, a subtle message from the vastness of space. Astronomers focused on the orbit of 3I Atlas. Its orbit is neither circular nor elliptical. It is hyperbolic, an extremely rare shape for an interstellar object. The measurement error is only a few thousandths of an AU, indicating an extraordinary stability rarely seen in celestial motions. This is unlike a typical comet, where any orbital changes are due to the gravitational pull of planets, solar winds, and small collisions. But 3I Atlas appears to be self-correcting, keeping its orbit surprisingly precise. The bright spots around it, observed by amateur time-lapses, also move in sync with the main orbit, as if they are coordinated by a unified mechanism. These data raise new questions. Could this be a random natural phenomenon? Or does 3I Atlas operate as a purposeful system, with self-sustaining mechanisms that regulate its light, energy, and orbit? This rarity and stability has led researchers to compare it to Oumuamua, the first interstellar object ever discovered. If 3I Atlas is indeed a similar, but much more complex, then we are looking at an extraordinary interstellar system, completely different from any known natural object. For those of you following this journey, ask yourself, are those lights and motions communicating information? Or are they just natural rhythms that humans don't yet fully understand? Measurements showed that the emission intensity did not decrease steadily over time, but oscillated at its own pace, an incredibly steady rhythm. It was as if the object had an internal energy source, regulating and maintaining its illumination. The green light emitted from the surrounding gas was independent of the direction of the sun, did not change as the object rotated, and did not conform to any known thermal or plasma pattern. Spectral analyses also recorded extremely high CO2 levels, almost no water, and signs of organic compounds and heavy elements, like a self-sustaining chemical factory in space. This strange stability suggests that 3I Atlas operates on a complex energy mechanism which can regulate its orbit, emission, and interaction with its surroundings, in a way never before seen in astronomical objects. Scientists began to envision an object not simply as a natural body, but as a system that could conserve and manage energy, a phenomenon that defied all traditional physical theories. The field of view continues to widen, focusing on small bright spots around 3I Atlas. These objects, observed by amateur time-lapses from telescopes around the world, move in sync with their main orbits, as if they are controlled or guided by an invisible force. Analysis shows that the movement of the bright spots matches the light emission cycle of Atlas, a phenomenon that is difficult to explain using conventional astromechanics. They are not simply dust or debris, but rather like mini satellites, reflecting energy and maintaining a precise position. Orbital models show that they follow a closed order, keep a stable distance, and interact with their surroundings in sophisticated ways. The presence of these bright spots raises a big question. Can 3I Atlas deploy its own auxiliary systems, not only to maintain its orbit, but also to collect data or interact with the surrounding force field? These observations further open up the hypothesis. 3I Atlas is not just a single interstellar object, but a unified system, a coordinated energy complex that separates, connects, and maintains order in its journey through interstellar space. During this period, most human telescopes cannot observe the object, creating a blind window lasting hundreds of hours. But some amateur telescopes still recorded the faint light, still maintaining the same emission rhythm as before it disappeared. This anomaly raises the hypothesis that Atlas can discreetly adjust its orbit beyond all traditional astronomical theories, not only moving, but also interacting with its surroundings, optimizing its energy, and maintaining stability in the dark. Computational models show that if the object were a natural object, it would be impossible to pass through the strong radiation from the sun and still maintain its emission rhythm and orbit. This suggests the possibility of a control mechanism or endogenous system of a complexity never seen in any interstellar object. This phenomenon raises big questions. Could there be a form of self-regulating matter, capable of maintaining orbits and synchronizing radiation, in regions of space that classical physics would consider impossible? Observers continued to analyze spectral and light data from 3I Atlas, looking for evidence of an unusual chemical composition. The results showed that CO2 was extremely high, almost absolute, while water and other common molecules were completely absent. This is in contrast to every comet observed in the solar system, where water is always the main component of the gas layer and tail. In addition to CO2, measurements also detected traces of organic compounds and heavy elements, like a natural chemical factory in space, operating steadily and precisely, under conditions that traditional physics and chemistry cannot explain. Computational models showed that if this object were natural, no mechanism could maintain a stable energy and orbit. Over weeks of continuous observation, while interacting with solar radiation and the force field of the solar system, this phenomenon leads to a challenging hypothesis. 3I Atlas is not simply a comet, but may be a complex energy system, self-regulating its orbit, emitting radiation, and maintaining its unique chemical state autonomously. Observations show that the blue light emitted does not follow astronomical cycles or thermal variations, but its rhythm is steady, like a programmed mechanism to maintain energy. This is compelling evidence that Atlas behaves in a completely different way than any known natural object. With each new analysis, scientists sense that 3I Atlas is opening a door to unimagined possibilities, where matter, energy, and interstellar orbits interact according to complex rules that humanity is only beginning to explore. Unlike normal comets, 3I Atlas's light beam appears to be focused in a fixed direction and does not diminish as the object rotates or moves through different regions of the solar system. This has led many to hypothesize that the light may be a directional signal capable of transmitting information or adjusting its orbit. Detailed analysis shows that the amplitude and frequency of the light remain stable, unaffected by solar wind, planetary magnetic fields, or plasma particles. These numbers are beyond the ability of traditional astronomy to explain, and almost certainly mean that there is an internal mechanism controlling the emission rhythm. Some scientists compare this phenomenon to an artificial signal system, similar to a beacon or laser, but operating in interstellar space and self-generating energy. The data showed that the beam was stable over many hours of continuous observation, and the focal point did not change despite Atlas moving millions of kilometers. This phenomenon raises big questions. Is it possible to have a self-aligning probe with the ability to precisely influence its orbit and transmit signals, while still maintaining its internal chemical and energy state? Amateur astronomers have also recorded this phenomenon through time-lapse videos and individual bright spots that move precisely along the object. Some of these bright spots flicker blue, an effect that cannot be explained by light reflections or conventional physical phenomena. This synchronization and stability suggests another hypothesis. 3I Atlas may have an endogenous regulation mechanism, keeping its light emissions in rhythm even when interacting with interstellar plasma particles. Initial computational models suggest that, to maintain such a level of emission, the energy required far exceeds the absorption of solar radiation, and that a self-balancing system is required, like a microscopic quantum physical machine but on an interstellar scale. These observations raise important questions. Is this a natural physical phenomenon never before seen, or a sign of an artificial system with the ability to signal and self-correct? For astronomers, each photon emitted by 3I Atlas is not just light, but also data, a record of the object's biological and physical rhythms, which they are trying to decipher. These findings emphasize that 3I Atlas is not simply an interstellar comet, but may be a complex system, maintaining chemical stability while incorporating endogenous signaling and navigation mechanisms. The final observations focused on small changes in orbit and light emission, details that may seem insignificant, but contain important clues about the nature of 3I Atlas. Orbital analysis revealed that the object was moving in a parabolic or hyperbolic pattern, a type of orbit that is extremely rare, unlike that of natural comets, which creates a near-zero probability of occurring if viewed as a random phenomenon. The researchers compared this to finding a single grain of sand in a vast desert and realized that every observation pointed to something extraordinary. In addition, the stability of the blue light emission, coupled with a solid core and high CO2 retention, create a complex picture, suggesting that the object is not simply drifting aimlessly, but is capable of maintaining its own physical system, interacting delicately with the interstellar medium. These small details also reveal that 3I Atlas may be some kind of interstellar probe, or an artificial mechanism designed to observe, interact with, and transmit data while remaining endogenous. With all the data collected, traditional models of comets and interstellar objects cannot fully explain this phenomenon. The numbers, the light, and the orbits seem to defy all familiar theories, profoundly challenging astronomers and physicists. As telescopes closely observed 3I Atlas, something strange immediately stood out. A bright but soft green glow, unlike any typical cometary light. Astronomers initially thought it might be C2 ions, a familiar carbon emission in comet tails, but when the spectrum was analyzed in detail, there was no sign of C2, Cn, or Ch. The energy spectrum was completely different. The green hue could not be explained by traditional chemical reactions, nor was it reflected light from ice dust or natural plasma. This suggested that the physical and chemical structure of 3I Atlas had extremely unusual characteristics, unlike any known comet or interstellar object. The researchers noted that this green band maintained a steady intensity as the object orbited and did not fluctuate with sunlight or viewing angle. These observations suggested a possibility. 3I Atlas may have an endogenous luminescence mechanism, acting as a self-regulating power system, not just reflecting, but emitting light in a purposeful way. They began to ask bold questions. Is this simply a poorly understood physical phenomenon, or is it evidence of a sophisticatedly structured object with the ability to signal and control the spectrum around it? Each emitted green photon seems to carry information, a piece of data about the matter and energy content of 3I Atlas. These open a new chapter in research, discovering complex chemical and physical systems that nature has never created, or that may be traces of interstellar technology. When the spectral measurements were closely observed, a strange phenomenon emerged. Green flashes, regular, precise, and seemingly pre-programmed. This was not just light, but molecular synchronization, where the ions and electrons in the CO2 gas emitted in unison, keeping a steady rhythm like a finely tuned molecular orchestra. This was completely different from natural ionization, not driven by sunlight, and unlike ordinary chaotic plasma, the flickering cycle lasted exactly 22 minutes. The light amplitude remained absolutely stable, as if 3I Atlas controlled its own internal energy, both interacting with and modifying its surroundings. Each green flash was a reminder that the universe operates according to laws far beyond human imagination. And if you're watching along with us, please subscribe and like the video. Let your eyes and soul tune in to each photon. Follow the subtle rhythms that 3I Atlas is emitting, discovering mysteries that only those who listen will notice. These findings open up a larger question. Is the green light just a strange physical phenomenon? Or is it a signal carrying information, a subtle sign from a system that humanity has never seen before? Every oscillation, every flicker, is a reminder that 3I Atlas still holds its own secrets, and we've only scratched the surface of the story. Detailed observations show that the green flashes are not just ordinary optical or plasma phenomena. They move in stable orbits, converging in a certain direction, as if driven by an endogenous energy center. A hypothesis begins to form. 3I Atlas may be actively transmitting signals or acting as an interstellar probe, a self-orienting and self-correcting device, even beyond the ability of traditional astronomy to explain. The existence of these converging beams, together with the synchronized flashing cycle, opens up the possibility that the object is not just a natural comet, but a sophisticated system operating at a level of energy and information that humanity has never witnessed. Each oscillation, each flicker, seems to carry an unencoded message, hinting at a purposeful mechanism and at a level of technology far beyond what we have ever imagined. The object passed through the solar opposition zone, where intense light and radiation could confuse all sensors. Data from satellites and telescopes was interrupted, leaving only indirect measurements and orbit simulations. During this time, some experts believe that 3I Atlas could have discreetly refined its orbit, taking advantage of the blind spot to change direction or speed without being detected. This has given rise to many hypotheses about the object's autonomy and control. Orbital models show that the object is not just drifting aimlessly, but is still maintaining stability in the solar system, meaning any changes could have been calculated in advance. This data gap, besides creating mystery, also makes astronomers realize the limits of current observation technology. We are witnessing an interstellar object, its ability to influence and adjust its orbit beyond what conventional science can explain. The perihelion and the signal loss are not only technical challenges, but also reminders that the universe contains mechanisms that humans have yet to understand. In this temporary darkness, 3I Atlas continues its journey, holding mysteries that only time and sophisticated observations can reveal. It is often thought that a hollow, weak object would be easily destroyed by strong forces or intense radiation. But 3I Atlas was not like that. Although its internal structure had gaps, it remained intact as it traveled through interstellar space. Observations noted that when a powerful CME from the sun struck, the object did not break or deform. Its enormous mass and high speed should have created pressures beyond what any normal comet could withstand. Yet 3I Atlas maintained its shape and orbit, as if there was an internal mechanism that moderated all the forces. Physicists and astronomers began analyzing the data. Gravity, solar radiation, and plasma impacts were all calculated to exceed the normal threshold of destruction. But 3I Atlas still stands, raising an unanswered question. Does this object have super strong matter, or a form of structure that humans have never seen before? With each observation, measurements reinforce one thing. 3I Atlas's strength and durability not only surpasses that of natural comets, but also suggests the possibility of artificial structures or autonomous energy regulation. In the silence of space, the object drifts, endures all radiation, remains intact, defying all the laws of physics as we understand them. This story of durability is not just a number or data, but a reminder that the universe is full of wonders, and sometimes matter can exist in ways that theory cannot explain. When light from the sun hits 3I Atlas, a strange phenomenon occurs. It is not random scattering or ordinary reflection. A focused beam of light points forward, clear, steady, and maintains a path synchronized with the object's motion. Astronomers carefully measure the scattering angle, the intensity of the emission, and the spectrum of the light are all unusual. This beam does not disappear with distance. It is not dependent on the solar wind or surrounding plasma. Even as 3I Atlas rotates, the beam remains in the same direction, as if controlled by an internal mechanism. Long-term observations show that the beam can transmit signals with a steady intensity and rhythm far exceeding that of any natural comet. Some researchers hypothesize that it could be a beacon or a kind of orbital navigation laser that both illuminates and interacts with its surroundings. Measurements of the light spectrum show a concentrated energy band, not spread out randomly like that of a typical comet. This suggests that 3I Atlas has a self-aligning emission system, a continuous energy system that maintains the beam pointing forward, helping it position itself precisely in interstellar space. In addition, time-lapse analysis of images from multiple amateur telescopes also confirms the stability and direction of the beam. The small, flickering points of light, moving in sync with the object, show that the beam is not a random phenomenon, but rather has order and purpose. Astronomers are beginning to compare this phenomenon to beams from normal comets. The intensity, trajectory, and stability are all beyond the scope of traditional astrophysics. These numbers indicate that, if this is a natural phenomenon, it is the rarest exception in the history of observations, and when looking at this phenomenon, one cannot help but wonder, is the beam just a unique physical property, or is it a sign of a sophisticated control mechanism, an intelligence hidden in 3I Atlas, keeping it alive and oriented in the vast space? In the endless darkness, the beam of light moving forward acts as a guiding light, not only illuminating, but also suggesting a story about the autonomy and intelligence of this interstellar object. Spectral analyses from 3I Atlas began to reveal mysteries that science had never seen before. The light that telescopes recorded was not just a normal spectrum. CO2 occupied an extremely high proportion, almost absolute, beyond any comet ever observed. Water, the soul of cometary reactions, was almost completely absent. Planetary chemists, looking at the data, were stunned. In a deep cold environment, CO2 could not exist stably based on classical physics alone. But in 3I Atlas, CO2 not only existed, but also emitted regularly, as if an endogenous energy source drove all processes. Organic compounds and heavy elements were discovered, forming a complex chemical factory, a system where energy and matter operated in ways beyond current theory. Measurements showed that the CO2 emission did not decrease, despite the object moving millions of kilometers through space, and the emission rate remained steady, like an interstellar heartbeat. Every molecule, every recombining electron, seemed to be in a delicate structure, programmed to maintain perfect energy balance. The fluctuations in light, the small changes in emission intensity, everything had a rhythm. As if 3I Atlas were communicating in the language of energy. Amateur astronomers around the world also confirmed this phenomenon. They recorded time-lapse videos, observing bright spots moving in synchrony, with steady green flashes as the object orbited. These signals could not be explained by conventional physical mechanisms, but seemed to indicate chemical and energetic autonomy, an endogenous system that maintained itself continuously in interstellar space. Detailed analysis also revealed differences from traditional comets: two concentrations 10-50 times higher than normal, a complete absence of H2O, and the presence of heavy elements such as iron, nickel, and complex organic compounds. This led scientists to start asking bold questions. Is 3I Atlas simply a natural object, or is it a system designed to operate independently, keeping physical and chemical processes stable beyond natural limits? The data also revealed another phenomenon. Whenever 3I Atlas moved through a strong magnetic field, the intensity of its emission changed, as if it were interacting directly with the cosmic force field, indicating that its internal structure could respond flexibly, maintaining a stable energy state and a steady light. Further observations revealed a phenomenon that was difficult to explain. 3I Atlas emitted a consistent beam of light, not scattered like traditional comets. Telescopes measured the emission direction almost fixed along the object's orbit. Each light cycle appeared regular, as if programmed, regulated by a sophisticated internal mechanism. Experts began comparing the data with the hypothesis of probes or interstellar technology devices. The emission intensity was high beyond the normal physical standards, with energy equivalent to gigawatts emitted regularly throughout the passage. Measurements showed that the change in color and brightness depended on the object's position, not due to the influence of sunlight or plasma particles in the solar system. The stability and direction of the emission of the light suggested two possibilities. Either this was a programmed signal or an intelligent orbital self-correction mechanism. Computational models show that to maintain such a stable beam, the object needs to constantly interact with its surroundings, redistribute its internal energy, and adjust its microgravity, something that natural comets have never done. Observations from multiple stations on Earth and satellites show that the green beam is emitted at a regular rhythm. The interval between emissions is almost constant. This is similar to the pulse signal mechanism in artificial technology, in contrast to natural plasma or ionization phenomena, which often oscillate asynchronously and sporadically. Astronomers are beginning to ask, could 3I Atlas be an engineered interstellar entity, operating a directional light mechanism for observation or sending signals? Both its hyperbolic orbit and spectral behavior seem to support this hypothesis. These signals are not just light, but physical messages, a form of energy communication that can last for millions of light years and remain stable. Initial simulations also indicate that, if this beam is technological, the object must be able to self-replenish energy, re-establish its internal CO2 distribution, and maintain its core structure despite cosmic pressure. These data are consistent with the hypothesis that 3I Atlas is an interstellar probe with a sophisticated internal system that not only moves, but also operates an independent signaling mechanism. This phenomenon of directional light has never been seen in natural celestial bodies. No comet or asteroid emits a beam that is stable, in a fixed direction, and has a periodic emission rhythm. All indicators extend beyond the realm of traditional astronomy, suggesting that 3I Atlas may represent a leap in space technology that humanity has yet to reach. As 3I Atlas entered the solar opposition zone, an observational gap appeared. Earth-based telescopes were almost completely unable to record light from the object. This period is known as the blind window, about 720 hours, when all direct data on orbit and emissions seem to disappear. However, sophisticated sensors on satellites, such as Solar Orbiter, still recorded faint oscillations, suggesting that 3I Atlas was still active, still emitting energy periodically. This disappearance was not simply an observational defect, but rather a period of stealthy orbital control, where the object adjusted its motion without leaving a visible trace. Astronomers began to simulate orbits during this period. The data showed that 3I Atlas's distance, velocity, and orientation remained remarkably stable, even when exposed to the sun's intense radiation. All traditional astronomical models failed to explain. A bold hypothesis emerged. The object could use its own gravity and internal light to fine-tune its orbit, keeping the emission direction of the previously observed green beam. This was not just a passive existence, but rather an autonomous energy system, knowing how to respond and adjust when entering dangerous areas of space. Amateur observations also recorded small, bright spots, moving in orbits synchronized with 3I Atlas, as if small precursor satellites were accompanying the main object. These beams flashed in a predetermined rhythm, possibly as a secondary signal or a mechanism to help the object maintain orientation in the blackout zone. This observational gap caught the global scientific community by surprise. No one knows exactly what 3I Atlas was doing during this period of silence, but advanced models suggest that the object was able to interact with the sun's radiation field intelligently, maintaining a stable core and beam structure while still moving toward perihelion. The observational gap is not just a technical challenge. It opens up questions about natural or artificial orbital control, about technologies that have never been accessed by humans, and about how 3I Atlas could hide itself as an intelligent system in the glare of the Sunday. These faint data are a reminder that, despite humanity's advanced technology, there are still countless mysteries of space that we have yet to decipher. Every hidden photon, every unobserved vibration, all seem to be waiting for us to listen, in silence but full of meaning. After 3I Atlas left perihelion, a long data gap remained in the minds of astronomers. not because we lacked the instruments, but because the object itself posed an unprecedented challenge. Do the observations we collected accurately reflect its nature, or are they just the surface of a complex system? Questions began to arise in the scientific community. Is 3I Atlas a natural phenomenon, or an artificial mechanism cleverly masquerading as an interstellar object? Could its green flares, subtle orbital fluctuations, and strange core stability be signs of a cosmic intelligence watching us? Some researchers emphasized, when looking at its hyperbolic orbits, this object is completely different from a regular comet. Its speed, direction, and emission pattern are almost beyond simulation. Traditional astronomical models cannot explain it, and all measurements point to a self-regulating system, like a finely programmed interstellar probe. But scientists are not the only ones puzzled. Amateur observations around the world have also recorded distinct points of light, small blue flashes that follow 3I Atlas precisely. This phenomenon cannot be explained by classical optical theory, and further strengthens the hypothesis that the object is responding to its environment. The next question is about the future of observations. As the object continues to move out of the solar system, what remains can we track? Will new satellites and telescopes be able to pick up signals or faint beams? And will previous data gaps repeat themselves in the coming years? New analysis of data from James Webb and Hubble shows that the intensity of the emission does not decrease with distance, but remains steady, as if an internal energy source is constantly operating. Astronomers hypothesize, is there a closed energy cycle inside 3I Atlas, allowing it to adjust its orbit, shine, and survive through the void of space without an external source? From a philosophical perspective, these questions open a new window into our understanding of the universe. If 3I Atlas is a natural phenomenon, it has exceeded all the laws we know. If it is technological, it is challenging humanity in terms of intelligence and observation, and in terms of how we define life and the capabilities of extraterrestrial civilizations. Some scientists even began to imagine the photons we were observing could be a coded message, a sophisticated form of communication, not through radio waves, but directly through light and energy. If so, each oscillation, each burst of blue light, was a piece of cosmic data, a story that 3I Atlas was telling about itself and its surroundings. The astronomical community began to shift. Instead of focusing solely on the description of the object, they were interested in the meaning of the data, in the object's ability to interact with humanity without revealing its true face. The question arose, were we dealing with a civilization that observed and hid itself, or at least a technology that was beyond our imagination? And finally, the hope of astronomers is that, although the data are limited, each new observation, each photon collected, will bring us closer to deciphering the true nature of 3I Atlas. Every time the telescope points toward its orbit, it is an opportunity to learn about the mechanics of existence, energy, and stability in interstellar space. These final questions are not limited to physics or astronomy. They pose philosophical challenges about how humanity understands life, consciousness, and the possibility of communication in the vast universe. Each observation is a step forward, a piece in the larger picture we are beginning to see. News of 3I Atlas spread to observatories and research centers around the globe. Each major power responded in its own way. The United States increased radar and orbital analysis. Europe focused on spectrometry and optical observations. China focused on the possibility of electromagnetic effects, and Russia monitored any changes in the orbit near the solar system. International media quickly turned the phenomenon into a focal point. Social media was flooded with illustrations, data analysis, and time-lapse videos from amateur astronomers, creating a whirlpool of information that simultaneously amazed and confused the scientific community and the public. Researchers felt a split in perception, with some being cautious, emphasizing observational limitations and unverified data, while others believed they were facing a phenomenon that defied all known laws of physics. These debates are not only felt in laboratories, but also in international forums, conferences, and even in military strategy reports. Remarkably, the signals and data continue to flow, but the way countries analyze and respond is completely different, creating a global picture of information asymmetry, where all understanding is limited by observational boundaries and technological capabilities. In this moment, 3I Atlas is not just an interstellar object, it is also a test of human imagination, coordination, and understanding of the universe. Across the planet, news of 3I Atlas spread. Observatories, research centers, laboratories everywhere turned their eyes to the strange object. Each country had its own reaction. The US increased its radar, tracking every small change. Europe focused on spectral data. China observed the possibility of energy emissions. Russia analyzed every change near the solar system. On social media, orbital models, time-lapse videos, and images were shared continuously. The amateur astronomy community recorded flashing points of light, moving in sync with Atlas. The information spread, creating a wave of data. Curiosity and amazement mixed. Scientists noticed a division in the reception of the information. Some were cautious, emphasizing the limits of unverified data. Others were excited, believing they were facing a phenomenon that went beyond the laws of physics. Debate rages in international conferences, forums, and military reports. While data continues to pour in, the way each country analyzes and acts is different. This creates a global picture of information asymmetry. Knowledge of Atlas is limited, but the impact and attention spread around the world. 3I Atlas is more than just an interstellar object. It is a test for scientific understanding, for imagination, for human cooperation. Observations show that 3I Atlas's light beam is not random. It is focused, stable, and appears to be pointing toward a fixed point in space. Astronomers analyze the spectrum, the blue light, and the flickering. All suggest a form of purposeful activity. One hypothesis is that the light beam is a signal, not a radio signal. It is a controlled light. It could be an interstellar probe, or a technological device, adjusting its orbit for remote viewing. Traditional astronomical models cannot explain it. Atlas's orbit varies very slightly, but calculations show that each movement is purposeful. The distances, velocities, and periods of light emission are all remarkably synchronized. It is beyond what we know of natural phenomena. Observations from James Webb, Hubble, and amateur radio stations are compared. All the data only reinforce the hypothesis. This was a phenomenon that could be programmed or controlled. Scientists began to consider the possibility that 3I Atlas was an alien technology. Although there was no direct evidence, the research community was divided. One side emphasized that the phenomenon could still be explained by physics and astronomy, although it was difficult to believe. The other side argued that Atlas was the first example of a self-sustaining interstellar device that was transmitting signals. This difference created a global picture of scientific challenge. Humanity had never before encountered a phenomenon that was both physical and showed signs of intelligent activity. But curiosity arose. Every light, every emission cycle, became valuable data. As 3I Atlas entered opposition, a peculiar time began. Every telescope on Earth lost signal. No images, no spectral data, just a gap that lasted for weeks. Researchers call this the lost observation window. This gap makes tracking the orbit difficult. Any potential changes in velocity, direction, or light cannot be measured directly. One hypothesis is that 3I Atlas may be making subtle adjustments to its orbit during this time. If true, these small changes would only be noticed when the object reappeared toward Earth. That raised concerns in the astronomical community. And in the military, the possibility of an object moving unexpectedly outside the solar system is a serious concern. When Atlas reappeared, everything seemed to have changed. However slightly, the light was still steady. The orbit was still accurate. But the temporary disappearance and what happened behind the sun remained an unsolved mystery. This period became a lesson for future observations. It was a reminder that the universe can hide information and that interstellar objects are capable of more than we ever thought possible. Is this object a natural product or a machine created by another civilization? The light, the orbit, and the green emission beams seem to carry a message, but the true meaning remains unclear. Every subsequent observational effort is carefully planned, from optical telescopes to spectrometers and X-ray instruments. Theories arise. Will Atlas reappear? Do other interstellar objects, yet to be discovered, operate in the same way? At every scientific meeting, astronomers discuss the next observational opportunity, the time when the object will pass closest to Earth and when it will re-enter the hidden zone behind the sun, are meticulously calculated. But the most interesting part is the combination of orbital mechanics, spectroscopy, and emission light. Each data, each signal, is a piece of the complex picture that Atlas leaves behind. And in the silence of the universe, people realize that observing is not just about knowing, but also about understanding how the universe communicates. From the early days of 3I Atlas's discovery, initial analytical models attempted to attribute it to a natural origin. But the deeper they dug into the data, the more researchers realized they were faced with a structure unlike anything seen in the nearby universe. The physical parameters of 3I Atlas left many uneasy. It had an estimated mass of 33 billion tons, but it exhibited stable behavior that defied all laws of force balance. It was hollow, something previously only seen in low-density comets. But 3I Atlas was different. It didn't disintegrate, it didn't destabilize, and it maintained its integrity even when exposed to the strongest solar radiation. Man-made hypotheses began to emerge. Some scientists argued that the hollow structure wasn't random, but intentional. By creating a hollow internal skeleton, the object could reduce its overall mass, avoid being deformed by gravitational forces, and at the same time protect its central core from direct radiation. If this is true, 3I Atlas is not just a block of ice, but an engineered structure, a system designed to survive for long periods of time, crossing interstellar space without an external power source. Spectral analysis suggests that its shell may contain previously unknown compounds, not water ice, not organic carbon, but a compound that is stable under extremely low pressures and temperatures of -220 degrees Celsius. Such materials cannot form naturally in a stellar or planetary environment. They require controlled manufacturing. A team at Kyoto University has even proposed a model called adaptive hollow structures. Accordingly, 3I Atlas may contain pressurized air chambers, allowing the object to stabilize itself when subjected to unusual gravitational forces. Each chamber acts as a shock absorber, keeping the overall structure from collapsing despite billions of tons of pressure. If this hypothesis is correct, then 3I Atlas was not only built to survive, but also to travel. Many astronomers are cautious when it comes to the concept of technology, but the precision of its structure and its physical stability have led many to wonder, could 3I Atlas be an ancient technological relic, part of a vanished civilization, still drifting in space like an island of cosmic memory? Because if the universe really has billions of civilizations, then somewhere in time, some civilization must have sent objects like this, not to communicate, but to leave a trace, a way for the universe to remember itself. In the Gemini team's report, there was a small detail that was almost overlooked. While most comets rotate as they pass the sun, 3I Atlas did not rotate. It kept a fixed axis throughout its journey, as if held in balance by an internal mechanism. This, to celestial mechanics, is almost impossible. A hollow object, moving through the chaotic gravitational field of the solar system, still maintaining a steady axis and speed. That is no longer the behavior of nature. It is the behavior of design. Some have suggested that 3I Atlas was not sent to Earth, but simply passed by, like a traveler who has been in the dark for too long and just happened to pass by. But even if it was a coincidence, it was enough to change people's perceptions of the possibility of intelligence out there. An ESA physicist wrote in the research journal, "Perhaps what makes it extraordinary is not that it is technology, but that it makes us see technology through the eyes of nature. And perhaps 3I Atlas is not the product of a civilization. It could be civilization itself, compressed into a structure to travel across billions of years and billions of miles, carrying a message that only time can decipher." Beginning in June 2025, when 3I Atlas was still more than 6 astronomical units away, farther than Jupiter's orbit, something unexpected happened. NASA's Swift Space Telescope, designed to monitor gamma-ray bursts, accidentally detected faint streaks of light in the far infrared, emanating from 3I Atlas's location. The data showed outgassing, a steady outflow of water vapor and CO2, although at that distance, the sunlight was not strong enough to vaporize any volatiles. To astronomers, this was like seeing a candle burning in the middle of an icy desert. There could be no water at that temperature, and certainly no evaporation. But the measurements confirm the rate of water vapor escape is approximately 88 pounds per second, a number that would rewrite every existing energy model. If it is natural, 3I Atlas is violating the way matter transfers heat in space. If it is artificial, it is demonstrating a deliberate thermal control mechanism. Scientists call this phenomenon early outgassing because it occurs months before the object gets close to the sunday. Comets typically only become active when their surface temperatures exceed the threshold for ice vaporization, about 150 Kelvin. But 3I Atlas started glowing while the temperature was still 60 Kelvin, meaning it was self-igniting. This raises a big question. How can such a cold object generate a steady outgassing flow in a vacuum? Some astrophysicists have theorized that 3I Atlas may contain an internal thermal conduction layer, like an energy exchange circuit, allowing heat to move from the core to the surface without the help of sunlight. If true, it would be the first time an unnatural thermal conduction mechanism has been observed in an interstellar object. Some simulations even suggest that the flow of energy could be sustained by a low-pressure phase transition where CO2 molecules periodically condense and expand, creating pulses of energy that resemble a heartbeat. Researchers who are more oriented toward the artificial hypothesis immediately realized that this could be a sign of a thermally stable system. If 3I Atlas is designed to travel for billions of years, it needs a way to keep the heat inside and avoid freezing the entire structure. Periodic outgassing may be a self-regulating response, a breathing mechanism for the object. A Swift team member wrote in the data log, "Its infrared glow is not a reflection, but an internal glow, as if there is a slow circuit of energy circulating inside." This opens up a new perspective. Is 3I Atlas not a stray iceberg, but an energy structure with its own operating cycle, programmed to respond to the space environment? If so, each time it outgasses is not a loss of energy, but a correction. Indecedity, like the way humans regulate their heartbeat. When the data were compared with other observatories such as Hubble and TESS, it was found that the phenomenon lasted for months, with astonishing stability. There are no breaks, no random fluctuations, just a regular outgassing rhythm, like a cosmic biological clock. Spectrographic measurements show that, during each outgassing cycle, the CO2 and water vapor levels change at a ratio of almost 8:1. This is too precise to be random, and even more strangely, the outgassing is not just out, it is focused in a certain direction, as if controlled by internal geometry. High-resolution images show the outgassing is arranged in a symmetrical pattern, a central axis, and two side wings at a 27-degree angle. It's the perfect arrangement to balance the rotational torque, allowing the object to maintain orbit stability without external twisting forces. No other comet in the history of observations has shown such behavior. At this point, the question is no longer, how does it vent, but why does it choose to vent that way? A strong hypothesis has been proposed at the University of Toronto. 3I Atlas may possess a thermal feedback regulation system, which works similar to an artificial neural network, where surface areas respond dynamically to changes in environmental temperature. In other words, it behaves like a thermally conscious body. When the data were published, many people dismissed it as speculation, but the numbers themselves silently prove it. All the laws of heat transfer, evaporation, and absorption are broken, and the only thing left is regular behavior. Those regular streams of water vapor, with the same intensity for months, are like the steady breathing of the deep sleep of the universe. 3I Atlas seems not only to exist, but to maintain its own existence. And perhaps that is the scariest thing, that an object does not need external energy to survive. As one astronomer said after reviewing all the data, "We have seen many objects pass through, but never one that seems to be alive." The first images of synchronous satellites around 3I Atlas were taken in mid-August 2025, when the object was just over 2 astronomical units from the Sunday. The Gemini South Telescope in Chile and the Pan-STARRS Array in Hawaii both detected small parallel dots of light moving around 3I Atlas. At first, astronomers thought they were just noise or debris broken off from the coma, but when the images were pieced together, they were moving in stable orbits at a nearly constant distance from the central object, about 12,000 kilometers. In astronomy, this should not happen. A small object, if it were to be broken off from its core, would quickly be swept away by the sun's gravity or stellar winds, rather than remaining in a fixed position for weeks. But the bright spots still follow their orbits, like satellites in sync with their parent body. When the radar data from Goldstone and the optical simulations were published, researchers found that there were 3 to 4 secondary objects orbiting 3I Atlas, moving at a steady speed, without collisions, and seemingly following a pattern of phase correction. No collisions, no deflections, just smooth motion.